We've got some pseudo-elimination finals. We've got some teams at the top end of the ladder that just got to get a win. And can some challengers from outside of the 8 propel themselves into finals contention? This is your round 19 preview and a discussion on which teams really need a win. Let's go. And don't forget to click that subscribe button, click like, more people will be able to watch the video in that way, and I really appreciate the support that the channel has been getting recently. And as per usual, at the end of the video, I'll give you my top 3 teams that need a win, as well as my tips for the week. We're going beautifully at the moment, as I so eloquently put in my Ladder is Cooked video, 25 of the last 30. So Daz is going beautifully here. But we'll kick things off on Friday night. Essendon v the Crows. And if you're playing a bottom 5 team in this competition and you yourself are in finals contention, it always has to be you. So the Bombers are the team that need to win this game the most. Now, at the time of recording, I don't have the team sheets. So don't comment and go, oh, Daz, you forgot this. Can't forget when I don't have access to the info, guys. Okay? Even though it gets uploaded later, I don't record and upload at the exact same time, right? So just as long as we're on the same page there, we're golden. But Essendon have won, I think, 10 of their last 13 and 11 of their last 14 under the lid at Marvel. Adelaide are kind of in wrecking season form, and I actually think this game's going to be relatively close. But the Bombers win, and they stay within striking distance of those teams in the top echelon of the competition. Lose, they don't play finals. That is my sweeping declaration for this game. Bombers better win. Giants, Suns, both of them need to win, and I'm usually in favour of the team higher on the ladder in these top 13 game scenarios, but for crying out loud, Gold Coast just need to win away from home. The Giants do need to win as well. This is definitely a 51-49% kind of game. The Giants have got such a difficult run home, which I put in my latest YouTube short, which if you haven't checked out, you should. Absolutely, but they've got a chance to wreck some seasons. But the Giants, as well as the Giants as well as Gold Coast at home. They've got Melbourne, they've got Freo, they've got the Bulldogs, a couple of other teams in the run home as well. Hawthorn in the run home, so they're going to need to get some wins on the board. I understand that, but for me, Gold Coast, they're chasing something historical. The Giants aren't really. And in order to do that, these are the kind of challenges that they've got to tick off. If Gold Coast win, I think they play finals. They bury that hoodoo. And as Damien Hardwick said, at some point as a club, they need to grow the fuck up. So, knowing that, I'm going to go with the Suns just in terms of who needs to win a little bit more. It's close though. St Kilda, West Coast. Has there been bigger ramifications for a 15th, 16th matchup? Who knows? But if St Kilda lose this, what the hell? The fact that they were able to play open attacking football under the lid at Marvel, yet went to Adelaide, saw some wet weather footy and went, we're just going to shut this shit down, and it didn't work, means they are firmly in control of their destiny. If they want to play open football with good defense, they can beat, I believe, the majority of teams. But they don't want to do that. But with West Coast's injury, surely they won't drop this either. West Coast are pretty much never, along with probably North and Richmond, are never really going to be in the who needs to win more kind of category. So St Kilda do fall into this a little bit by default. But if this wasn't a video on who can't afford to lose, I mean, that's definitely the Saints, which is why we can swing the opposite and say that they really need to win. Will they, though? Probably, but going into this year, we should have had more faith in St Kilda beating West Coast at Marvel. So that sums up where they're at, I think, the best. Saturday twilight, Hawthorn v Collingwood. And in terms of who needs to win more, I think it's Collingwood. If I think of this as the pseudo-elimination final, right, which team would cop it more and what would be worse for them going forward if they didn't play finals? And I think the answer is Collingwood, with their ageing list and quite a lack of kids, to be honest, that they're going to need to hang on to the top of the mountain as long as they can. And losing here to the Hawks is going to be detrimental for them moving forward. Now, I've got my own ideas that Collingwood need to stockpile picks, kind of like Richmond did in 2020, 1, I think it was, where they took 5 in the top 30. Collingwood need to find a way to do the same. Yes, they've got Tommy McGuan coming in the 2025 draft. As far as I'm concerned, figure that out next year. Get kids in here now and keep moving. That's what they need to do. The Hawks, no one really had them in the 8 at the start of the year. Yeah, sure, there was a lot of articles around they were a smoky for the 8, but they're not going to be well worse off if they finish 9th, 10th, 11th. If the Hawks can get Bailey Smith, Josh Battle, especially Battle in my opinion, Smith would be awesome, but probably likely he goes to Geelong, then they're still going to be fine and the development will come. So Hawthorn can live with losing this game. It won't feel good, and I bloody hope that they don't. But reigning Premier, wanting to stay in contention, must win for the Pies. GMHBA Stadium, Geelong versus the Bulldogs. I'm actually going to put Geelong in the must-win here. Yes, the Bulldogs, after their win against Carlton, are probably due for a shit performance, let's be honest. Hello, the Port Adelaide game, if you're listening. And I also understand that this can seem hypocritical because the team outside of the 8 are playing a team in the 8. Therefore, they need to win. But Geelong at GMHBA Stadium, I think this is a real fork-in-the-road moment. Yes, they beat the Bombers. Yes, they beat the Hawks. But if they lose this game, then I think they are very much 50-50 on whether they play finals, where we're at, these kinds of things. And Geelong have played a really decent, uncontested style lately, right? So, where that leaves them going forward is probably better off than they are this year. Therefore, if you want to get some finals experience into these youngsters, and yet again put yourself into some kind of contention position, they'll need to win this game. Whereas the Bulldogs, I think the majority of footy fans are still 50-50. Are they in a rebuild? Are they retooling? Are they contending? No one can really agree. Therefore, losing to Geelong at GMHBA Stadium may not be the biggest deal. But I can understand either way for this one. Port Adelaide versus Richmond. It's Port. Richmond don't need or must win a game for the rest of the year. Pick one. Take Jagger Smith. You're golden at that point in time. Port lose this. Shit. Now, it's not against Richmond to go to Adelaide Oval and have a win, as we know, but Port, Joel Selwood came out on Talking Footy and spoke about a lack of cohesion with their leaders. They're kind of on the back foot at the moment, which is when they can come out and really play at their best. Dispatching the Tigers by 10-plus goals is probably what they need to do to right the ship a little bit. Jason Horne-Francis will probably go nuts because I traded him out in Supercoach this week because last week was completely unacceptable. But they're probably in for a big one, Port. But my God, they cannot afford to lose this. So it's a must-win for them as well. Brisbane versus Sydney. As much as it's hard for me to say Richmond must win, it's pretty difficult for me to say Sydney must as well, considering they're on the road, but there's still so many games ahead on the ladder. Dropping another one is not that big a deal. Remembering that there is 24 rounds in the 2024 season, they've still got 5 games after this. They could effectively go on an 8-game winning streak and still win the flag. Therefore, they're fine. Now, against a contender, they probably wouldn't want to drop this, obviously, but Brisbane really are the team here. They could cement themselves as the proper number 2 seed in this competition. Their momentum would go through the roof, and if Neil, Dunkley, McCluggage, Ashcroft can go head-to-head and come out of an even ledger or even beat Heaney, Warner, Goulden, and these guys, that's going to go a long way towards their self-belief, their growth, all of these things. 4th versus 1st, in a bit of a shitty time slot, but that's just a personal thing for me. Can't wait to watch, though. Game of the round. Yes, even bigger than Hawthorn Collingwood. This is going to be awesome. Freo Melbourne. I'm going Freo for the team that needs to win the most in this game, and purely and simply as they smacked them in Darwin not too long ago. Melbourne got a good win with no Gawn or Petrarca, but if Freo are going to be serious about playing finals, they need to win the game. There are more expectations on Freo than there are at Melbourne. Freo at home, coming off a loss that wasn't great over the Hawks, but look, there are worse losses to have in the world down in Tassie, but at Perth, at home, Amos and Tracy can find some form. Their midfield can get on top with no Petrarca there. Yes, you've still got Oliver, Viney, Trent Rivers. That's not a bad midfield by any stretch. Rivers is in really good form especially, but they've just got to get this done. And expectations of Melbourne at the moment are, Not that big of a deal, I don't think, from the outside footy public. But yeah, Freo, if they don't want to be one of the more mentally fragile teams in the league, go get the W. And to finish us off, Carlton North. Carlton need to win this game. Absolutely they do. For the simple reason is, imagine if they don't. Like, they're screwed. Charlie Curno's probably going to have a day out. He feasts on North, but of course Harry Mackay can as well. I do like what North's defence have been doing, don't get me wrong, but this is a simple one for me. Carlton have just got to win this game, and I hope North can hang in there. Looking forward to seeing the midfield battle. Yes, you've got Cripps, and North don't really have that big-bodied mid, but fingers crossed Wardlaw, Sheasel, and these guys, and Luke Davies-Uniacke especially, can go head-to-head with Walsh, Cripps, and a very out-of-form Adam Chera, which has been quite strange, but I don't really have anything else to say here. Carlton need to win this game the most. But will the teams that need to win? Well, according to my tips, no. So there they are on the screen. And look, there will be heavy debate, but I'm liking my tipping form and going with a couple of upsets, as you can see. In terms of the top 3 teams that need a win this weekend, I have firmly put Collingwood as my number 1. Port Adelaide just need to get the job done against Richmond at home. And perhaps controversially, I've gone with Freo. 5th versus 8th, a big game at home, can't let the fans down, and further cement themselves as finals contenders. So those are the teams that I think must win over the weekend. Who is your lock? Who is your upset of the round? Comment below, let me know. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to join the Daz Talks Footy family, and you, my friends, have an absolutely awesome weekend. Ciao.